Welcome to the Explosive Strength Podcast with Jared Bidney. On today's episode, I have Brooks Hardy with me. Brooks is one of the original gym members that kind of helped us figure out this jump training. He was an original guinea pig. You've probably heard me talk about Brooks on other podcasts before, but Brooks couldn't jump over a sheet of paper. Ended up going to the Air Force and started to become somebody. So we're going to get in this episode with Brooks Hardy, and we're going to talk about training and the process and just his experiences with the gym and after the gym. So welcome, Brooks.
Thanks for having me, Jared. I appreciate you being here.
Years ago, you started coming to the gym. You was at the first gym.
I was at the first gym, yep.
Why did you start coming to the gym?
Oh man, let's see here. My brother Brent, he was here when you first started out, because he was like the first original. He came to your first gym, and
But it was about a year after he came.
It was a year after he came and everything, and you started getting him better with, because he was a pitcher in baseball and stuff, and he went out to junior college for baseball. So you got him ready for that, and I was always like the huskier kind of kid.
Mm-hmm.
Never really had like too much athletic ability or anything like that. And it was my 9th grade year. I was playing football and played football my whole life, and thought I was gonna play football in college. That was my goal and everything like that. But my freshman year, before our first game, I got hurt, and I fractured my vertebrae or something like that in a big football hit. So my dreams of playing football kind of went out the window, because whenever you got a neck injury, your parents kind of start freaking out and they kind of don't want you to start playing anymore. So I kind of was in a lost state, didn't really know what I wanted to do. Baseball wasn't really a thing for me anymore, because I kind of lost the love for that. And come Christmas time of my freshman year of high school, my daddy comes up to me right at Christmas morning, and he slides me your original business card over to me, and he goes, "Congratulations, you're signed up for Explosive Mechanics. You start tomorrow."
Awesome. The gift of Jared for Christmas.
I got you for Christmas my freshman year. That was the best gift.
See, I didn't even
looking back at it.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Yeah.
I tell people that I don't even think I saw your parents for the first 2 years. I think they just kind of dropped you off, and here comes Brooks. And you just showed up every freaking day, and you couldn't really squat at first. You had a funky squat form.
No, you first day I showed up was that next day, that my day after Christmas and everything. I was nervous as crap, because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. My brother said that you were built him up from nothing, and he was excited that I was starting and everything, but I was nervous as all get out. And the first day I showed up, you had me squat max, and you asked me what my squat was, and I had no idea, because my prior lifting experience was little to none, because in Pee-wee football and then coming up to middle school football, like, we didn't do much weight training. It was just football practice.
What do you remember? What your first squat max was? Was it like 150, 155?
My first squat max was probably, I can't remember. I think I maybe got up 205.
Okay.
And that was difficult. And I remember I started stretching out before I was about to do my squat max, and you had Cody helping me out. And I started doing stretch out my hamstrings and stuff, and you were like, whoa, we don't do that here. We don't stretch, we don't do that. We warm up with weights and everything. And I knew from that point on, I knew that I was getting into something that was a lot bigger than what I thought I was about to start.
Yeah, because we don't stretch, because if you do too much static stretching, like traditional stretching and things like that, you break apart some of the elastic capabilities of muscle fibers. So like if you do static stretching, they've done tons of research on it. If you statically stretch your arm and do too much static stretching before you throw a baseball, it decreases miles per hour.
Yep.
If you do static stretching before you jump, it decreases jump height. If you do static stretching before you run your 40-yard dash, you can lose 0.2 of a second just because you stretch too much. Because when you're stretching a muscle, you're trying to get it to lengthen, but you're trying to relax at the same time. So it's got tension, and you're trying to relax, and it does not really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
And so they've even done it with golfers. Golfers will lose 20 yards off their drive if they do static stretching before their round.
Really?
But that there's a thing to where static stretching will impair performance to a point. Maybe 20 to 30 minutes after, but after about that 20, 30 minute point, then you kind of regain your normal ability. So there's a window there, so you don't want to get on your 40-yard dash, stretch, and run within less than 20 minutes.
So then you get tight like immediately after that.
So that's why we don't really stretch. And the best way to warm up for squats, the squat. The best way to warm up for the bench is the bench.
Sure.
And then static stretching is good for after exercise and things like that. And so like after your workout, you want to sit there and do some static stretching.
Yeah, we did the band work and stuff like that. We do stuff with bands and
You
stuff
can do
right
stuff
after we
like
did
that.
Yeah.
So your what was your highest all-time squat
Here?
ever, or just in general? So you went from 205 to what's the biggest squat ever?
205, and I remember I finally got up to, well, I had a back injury that one time, so you had me front squat for a very long time. So I was front squatting for almost a year, and I got that up to about 405, I think.
Well, I don't know if you remember this. I remember front squatting you, and this was at the second gym.
Yeah, this is that second gym.
Your front squat went from 255 to 365 in 8 weeks.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a horrible 6 weeks.
But when we started front squatting like that, you and Cody and them were some of the original people that tested.
Yeah.
And you always wanted to test. After front squatting, after you made that significant jump in strength, that's when we kind of realized that your 40 had a significant improvement.
Yeah.
We weren't doing a whole lot of vertical jumping with dumbbells and stuff at the second place. We didn't even jump at the first place. Maybe on some boxes.
No, we maybe did box jumps here and there, but it wasn't until the second gym where you really started to figure out that. Well, it was like Cody and I think Joe. We started doing the whole guinea pig thing. You were like, hey, like, you know, you got those the Vertex mats, the jump mats.
Yep.
And you started wanting to play around with those. We weren't doing dumbbell jumps yet, but we were doing more going off boxes and doing the depth jumps.
Yeah.
Right after we would super soak those with
squats.
So we'd do a set of 4 or 5, and then we'd go do 3 jumps and try to beat our best record for each set.
Yeah, and do you remember what your first vertical was at the gym? Do you remember?
Dude, I don't. I can't even go back that far.
I know. I joke because you couldn't really do a whole lot of stuff. I don't even know if you could jump 5 foot on a broad jump. I mean, you were.
I was not. I wasn't athletic back in that day.
No.
For sure.
So that's what we're going to try to get at is you're not sometimes born this way, but you can be built and changed.
Oh, I was, yeah. And I mean, like, my dad was an athlete. My mom, you know, swam and stuff like that. My dad played football and everything like that. But, you know, my brother was pretty skinny as a teenager. I was always kind of like the thicker kind of kid and stuff like that. But, I mean, not to, you know, badmouth my genetics or anything like that, but I didn't really have, like, you know, pro athletic, you know, athlete genes in my blood pool, I guess you could say. I was definitely built, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you would come to the gym all the time. Never saw your parents, but you were consistent.
Yeah,
all the time. You even like, hey Brooks, this summer we're going to come in the morning and we're going to do this workout, and then you're going to come back in the afternoon, and we're going to do the same workout. Remember that?
Yeah.
We would do the same thing over and over, and
we do arms and we do chest and like back in the morning, and then we come back and do legs and the.
No, we did chest and back in the morning, and chest and back in that. We doubled it up.
We doubled up, yeah.
We doubled it up, then you did that for the whole summer.
Whole summer. That was my sophomore summer going to my junior year, I think.
And I think what helped is
that's when I made my best gains. I feel like.
Yeah, you were at the gym year round for a long time. You know,
every day.
You didn't have because you weren't worried about sport because you didn't do any sports.
No, because once I got hurt in football, one of our family friends came up to me and was like, "Hey, like you'd be a great shot putter. You've got the build for it."
Did you start shot putting your sophomore year, or you didn't start that till your junior? When did you start?
I started throwing shot and discus my freshman year of high school.
Okay, you started just right then.
But I wasn't good. I didn't start getting good until my sophomore year, and then I started picking up the hammer and the weight throw my junior year when I got on that throw and deep team up in Marietta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't realize you started, but I would have never known that you did track early on because you were at the gym all the freaking time.
Yeah, it was my regular, my high school schedule consisted of, waking up in the morning, going to school. We'd get out around 3 o'clock. I'd go home real quick and I'd change. I'd try to eat something real quick and I'd come over here, and I was probably here from 3 till I'd probably say close to 7:30 at night.
Yeah, because I try to start people on time, but I never kick them out to the demo what they're needed to be done. It's just not a clockwork or
we would do extra stuff at the end though.
Yeah, and I allow kids to still do that. Like there's little kids that if they're strengthened or got some significant weaknesses, they can stay extra if they want to. It's just you're not paying for an hour, you're paying for training.
Yeah, I mean not only that, but I mean it's hard for. I mean, granted, when I was a freshman and when I started, I guess I wasn't as mature enough. I didn't really see the purpose and the future that was ahead of me, I guess, in terms when I started out, because you're so young, you don't really know what you want to do necessarily. But once I started figuring out that, I think the big reality check for me was the first couple times that we were in here in the first gym when we were maxing out and everything, and you had me working out with the volleyball girls because I wasn't near as strong as with the guys, so I had to work out with them because they were doing the same bench as me. We'd be benching 95 pounds in the bar, and that was the big kicker for me because I was like, dude, I can't be like, this is something bad if I can't compete with the age group that I'm in right now. I gotta be. I mean,
do you remember what I do have it. I've got your original spiral. I should have brought that.
The spiral
back.
notebook?
Yeah, you know what you was doing for reps as a high school freshman?
It was like 85 pounds.
75. This kid was trying to rep 75 pounds. I saw that.
Having trouble with it.
And I was like, man.
I had noodle arms, man.
But you started off struggling with 75 pounds. I remember you doing 365 as a senior. Yeah, do you remember doing any higher than that?
I think the best max that we could get myself up to, because I remember I had started shoulder problems. Yeah. I started having my shoulder kept on dislocating, so I couldn't really do as much as I wanted to. But you were trying to get me up to 405 by the time I graduated, but I think we were able to get me up to like 385.
Yeah, I think
with a clean bench, like butt on the bench and stuff like that. But
yeah, and you was doing 365 for
a couple, like at least 2 reps.
Yeah, that's what I remember. And so you went from 75. You couldn't go from 100 to almost 400.
Yeah.
That was a pretty significant improvement.
Yeah.
And I think with that bench press strength, your shot put was going up over 8 feet per year one day.
Yeah. My shot put went up dramatically when I started making those strength gains, because it was my whole body was totally compiled of just slow twitch fibers the whole time. But you kept on telling me, we got to do these, we got to do, pause bench, we got to do box squat, we got to do, the depth jumps, because we got to build up those fast twitch fibers that you have that are in your body. You just haven't tapped into them yet.
Yeah, and so we did a lot of pause benching with you back in the day, because that static overcome dynamic increases explosive power.
Yep.
And so,
which is huge for throwing.
Yeah, because even in the shot put, you're static and you got to overcome. You can't load and go.
No. Yeah.
And so and you've heard on the podcast where we're doing the while we box squat, it's the same thing. We do a lot of pause benching here. If we have a set of 3 to 4, maybe even set to 5, we're pausing all reps as if you were in competition. So it's a complete stop and bar, press. And so that static overcome dynamic increases explosive power, have a lot more neural drive, so you've got a lot more fast switch fibers being recruited, and you can also increase explosive power and absolute strength at the same time. So it was able to drive your explosiveness up and your strength up at the same time.
Yep.
And that's why we do box squatting, sit and explode. It really helped you because you couldn't jump over a freaking sheet of paper.
Heck yeah.
And you was in the gym the other day and you looked on the wall. You didn't realize you jumped to 42.3.
I didn't know I jumped that high back then.
And you were over.
And that was at
10, 15?
I was close to 220.
220 at 42.3.
Yeah.
And I remember because you said we used to superset, we still do it with some people. A lot of people nowadays don't really they're not here like you were. They're not, you're year round, no matter what you had to do. And I think that's the big, my son needs to take a break during the sporting season. Well, Carson had to with lacrosse, because that lacrosse animal is pretty big.
Yeah,
Mikey,
year round.
Yeah, Mikey had a hard time with baseball. But Mikey, although he started linebacker at Stars Mill, he could come in during football season. We may have changed the exercises up, but we never. You don't get the sporting season, and you're halfway up the mountain with your total training process over the 4 years. You don't want to go halfway up, come out of sporting season, all the way down and start over again.
Yeah, you at least want to come out where you left off at, and I think that's what a lot of it what came down to. Like when I started track season, which was more springtime. I mean, when I started doing the whole club track, it was indoor and outdoor. But when I would leave, not necessarily leave for track season in the summer, in the springtime, you know, I'd come back and when we would test, I would probably be if maybe a little lower, but if not the same vertical 40.
Yeah, but I don't really remember you taking off. Even in track season, you still came.
Yeah. And
but I think lacrosse and baseball had the hardest time coming. The volleyball club season, but they can still come during volleyball season during their normal year. I think you always progress forward. You never had to really go back down and start over.
Right.
I've had some players come in. I don't know if you remember McDougal. McDougal benched 350. Did not come during football season. Came back with a 280 bench.
Yep.
Okay, you're repping. If you're benching 350, you're repping 315 for 2 to 3 reps.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine coming back in and your max is 280. So you can't even do one. You can barely do 1 rep with 280. That's kind of mentally draining. Some of these kids will quit because that downfall, they don't have the mental capacity to work through and get back.
And that's the thing too, is that you gotta be coming into it knowing that you want to work, and whatever goal you got in mind, whether it is to proceed in, you know, college sports, or you want to go even farther and do pro sports and everything, you got to keep that goal in mind, because, you know, if that's the only thing you want to do, you're going to do anything in your power to get to there. And that's what I thought a lot of like the Stars Mill football guys,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they were a big, you know, keeping me motivated, because these guys were coming in after their 2.5 hour long football practices, which aren't the easiest thing,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the Georgia heat during the fall.
Yeah,
They're coming in here right after football practice, already sweaty, already beat up and everything, and these guys are coming in here and doing 5x5 on squats.
Yeah, and so the same thing with that's what made Colton a freak.
Mm-hmm.
He had to be here year round. I mean, you're talking my stepson, but Colton, he was in the gym 8 years old, and he was here all the freaking time.
Yep.
You know, these kids who take these little breaks here and there, that's a chance for the other kid to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you surpassed a lot of people. These kids that come in, they drop off, and you gain another step. Oh, another kid came in that was ahead of you, he dropped off, and then if they came back, you were 4 or 5 steps ahead of them to where they couldn't catch him. Like,
Yeah.
what happened to Brooks? I remember Kenneman's dad came in here. He went, that ain't Brooks Hardy.
Yeah.
That ain't, no way. And so he came in and he was asking me if he was on drugs, make sure we weren't taking steroids in here and stuff like that. That's the ultimate compliment. People think, you went from where people thought, holy cow, Brooks can't do this. And that consistent effort made you somebody to where people were like, what happened to Brooks? And then he sent his kids here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people started coming. Then by the time you were a senior, all the kids in here wanted to be Brooks. But you got to work like Brooks, buddy. You know, you, Cody, Carson, Kyle, Colton, Wesley, Katie, the twins, Joe, Mikey. You know, that was your crowd.
That was our
and
group.
y'all were here all the time. Y'all may have gave each other some shit here and there.
Yeah, we'd get on each other's nerves sometimes, especially when it came to competition and stuff like that. But it was all fun and games though too, because we knew that we were making each other better each and every day, no matter what.
Yeah, because y'all were friends too. I mean, you weren't friends with Cody before the gym, and you weren't friends with Joe. The gym helped y'all be that way, and then y'all were so competitive on trying to. You, Cody, and Joe were all running off the same thing in the 40, so you got to get better. And you went. You don't know that. Oh, maybe you do, but when we started really tracking your 40-yard dash, you went from a 5.4 to a 4.5.
Was it a 4.5?
4.53, 4.52, or something like that. I was checking out your numbers.
4.52. Good Lord.
So you went from a 5.4 to a 4.5, 13 months.
Really?
I had another kid in here. He probably did it. He went from a 5.3 to a 4.7. Now that at the end of this month we should be at 4.6. You know, just because we're trying to get almost a second off of the kids. And for what people don't know is I set up my lasers here every yard at the 19, 20, and 21.
Yeah, you did the 20-yard split.
And well, look, this is I tried to even get, because I tried to see how much, if someone was trying to film someone on the field trying to cheat the 40-yard dash.
Yeah.
I set my lasers up at 19 yards, 20 yards, and 21, then 39, 40, and 41. And I had them start like they was running a full speed 40.
Yeah.
And so between each gate, so if you're running your 4.5, 4.6, you would probably hit, each yard would be 0.11. So 1/10 of a second per yard, basically.
Right.
Now some of the slower kids, as slow as I've seen, it's been 0.13, almost 1300ths of a second. And so that means each yard is 1/10 of a second. If you want to even check out the fastest people, okay? So if you go from running a 5 flat to a 5.3, you're 9 feet difference.
Yep.
1/10 of a second, that's 3 feet. That's easily beating out a ball when you're running to the base. You know, easily making that tackle when you run, or getting to that fly ball, or beating the guy down the court. I was watching lacrosse the other day. This guy, he was mirroring the other guy, and all of a sudden, boom, took her off and just passed. He only needed one step. A 1/10 of a second comes in real handy, especially when you play lacrosse. Remember a little G-bomb?
Yeah.
I'm going to screw this up. He is first team All-American.
Is he really?
Yeah. And he started when he was 8 years old. But his dad and Grayson benched 400 as a junior.
Did he really? Good Lord.
And so these kids were here when they were in 3rd grade.
Yeah, they came up to my kneecap. That's how tiny they were.
But their dads have kept them consistent. I know
Yeah.
G-bombs in lacrosse, and lacrosse is, like I said, is a different animal. They can't get in here in that season because it's not like football where the games are on Friday. You can kind of prepare for that.
Coming later.
Yeah, and I wish people weren't so freaking weak-minded. Mikey, when he was coming during season, James Skowski, he came during season. They would even come in on Thursday,
Right before their game. Yeah.
the day before the game, and still work out. They're not coming here for the first time. If you came in for the first time and you got sore as crap, maybe going to your football game the next day may not be a good idea,
No, that's
especially
smart.
if you're a starter.
Yeah.
But you're talking about starters that come in and grind. Mike ended up getting a scholarship to go play Mercer. You know, and the other kid ended up getting a scholarship to go to Clemson. You know, we're not talking about little peon kids. We're talking about the top cream of the crop of the teams.
Yep.
And still going something. So if you're playing JV and you want to play varsity, you may have to get out of your little I don't want to phase and get into it.
You got to get out of that comfort zone.
And so, and I want to go over this. When we talked about earlier when we would do our depth jumps in between our squats.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that picture I took of you? Maybe not. Anyway,
Which
so
one was it? Was it the one that
it was in this gym, and it was over there at the racks. You stepped off that box, you landed, and
Oh, it was when my feet were over the box, or
Your feet-
the same height of the box.
your feet were over the 30-inch box.
I didn't
And I said, holy crap. And if I could find that video, I'm going to post that as the picture.
Yeah.
Because that picture of you jumping over the box with your feet off that 30-inch box when you're above the box, I said, holy shit, we got something.
Yeah.
And then we started doing the dumbbell jumps. And then we did the depth jumps a lot, you know. So we'd jump first, wouldn't we?
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't do dumbbell jumps first?
No. Oh, actually, you started to where we
Oh, I
would
guess
do
we had- 'cause you had to
dumbbell
go through-
jumps before we even started squatting.
Yeah, because we had to go through so many phases. Because
Yeah.
I had some people doing jumps with a bar on their back,
Right.
without the dumbbells. Then I had people jumping over hurdles. I had people box jumping. I remember specifically trying to go through that phase of trying to figure out how are we going to jump, because I tested at the end of each month.
Yep.
You know, I remember the first time you hit 30, you thought you was on top of the world.
I mean,
Then
that was the pinnacle of what I thought I was trying to get to. I didn't know there was going to be more at stake. Though.
You got to 30, then we got to 33. Then you jump, after you jump to 33, and days in here you jump to 30 and you'd be pissed. I said, damn, Brooks, last month when you jumped to 30, you was happy. Now when you jump to 31 or 30, you're pissed.
Can't settle.
No,
Can't settle. Gotta keep on striving.
Then I remember 36. I wish I would have brought you, because I still have your old folders and your old stuff, to show the progression of how you actually progressed. But for you to jump 40 plus inches, 42.3 above 200 pounds is really crazy, and that's what people don't realize. It's you couldn't. You thought 30 was not even possible.
Yeah.
You thought 30 is where you needed to get to. Shit, you got to 42.
Yeah, I know.
And it's that box. When I saw you jump and you're higher in that box, then I start people. We had this little thing. Remember, went over our shoulders and we jumped with it, little bear squat thing.
Yeah.
I had people jumping on that. I had a group. So what I did was I had, all right, Brooks, you and Katie, y'all are gonna do dumbbell jumps this month. All right, y'all two are gonna go jump on the bear squat. Y'all two are gonna go jump on the boxes, and y'all are gonna go over here and jump on hurdles. And y'all are gonna, and this group will do depth jumps. And over time, I watched which the group for the dumbbell jumps improved more than the other ones.
Yeah.
The people doing the hurdle jumps, that's a reactive jump, so it's not an explosive jump, so they're not gonna be very good to 40 because they're not putting maximum effort, they're putting more repeated effort in.
Yeah.
And so the same thing with the bear squat. So those people were not really improving. The people working on the box jumps, their box jumps went higher, but their verticals never changed because they got more mobile, being able to get their feet up higher. So they got, the box height may went up, but they just got better at getting their feet up there. And so the dumbbell jumps and things like that happen.
Dumbbell jumps is what showed the true, I guess, quick twitch fibers that each person was able to produce, because you're starting from static up here with the dumbbells on there, and you got to go boom boom as fast as you can, because the faster you go, it's like your hamstrings are like rubber bands.
Yeah, the faster you stretch, the faster muscles stretch, the harder it contracts.
And I think that's what helped us out tremendously with vertical and with the 40-yard dash, because those quick twitch is what got you up to your speed faster.
Yeah,
got you to that 20-yard point. That way you can maintain that speed after you got past that 20-yard spot.
We used the dumbbell jumps to increase the explosive power right off the start.
Yeah.
We used the depth jumps to help with reactive forces, so you fall, catch yourself, and be able to get it back. And so was also tracking how high you get off your depth jump. We was always trying to beat your depth jump number for the reactive thing. So like each time your foot hits the ground, when you run, you got to be able to react to that force that you're putting in, so they can turn over. And the dumbbell jumps was just allowing you to be, boom, more explosive right at the start. Hey, I need a quicker first step. But you can't just do dumbbell jumps and depth jumps. We had to squat to increase your strength.
Yeah.
So we'll squat, we increase your strength. So increasing someone's strength is the limiting factor.
Yeah.
So you can't be fast if you're weak. So which means like if I have to increase your strength, then I have to increase the rate at which you produce that strength. So your squat goes up. Now we're able to work on our rate of force development, which was the dumbbell jumps and the depth jumps.
Yeah.
And so as we pushed the squat up, and we worked on the other jumps, the squat was just kind of like you pulling a cart. So it's just kind of like as your strength went up, that's you're walking, that's your strength, and then that cart's your jumping ability and your running ability.
Yeah.
Now, I remember this too about you is when you were in high school, I think you was just screwing off or something, jumping hurdles or something. This was at track practice because you were a thrower. You were not a sprinter.
Oh, you tell me, yeah.
Brooks. I mean, Brooks was never known to be a fast kid and not very. What you broke the mold is what people thought.
Yeah.
That's why they came in. What the hell happened to Brooks? What?
I think I got accused of taking steroids probably 2 or 3 times. A couple of them were kind of jokingly, but there was a couple of our, I wouldn't say friends, but there was people that were on like old teams from like back in the day that were like coming up to my parents and were like, hey, what are you giving them? That like, that's not cool and everything. I mean, I wouldn't care because I thought of it as a compliment.
Yeah,
but
that's what they thought I did when I was in high school.
Yeah,
it's what happened is Brooks just outworked your kid. I've seen some kids that this past year they ran the 40-yard dash. They went to a place down the street. They got some places around here that try to
speed training.
Yeah, and so they were doing speed training, or what they thought was speed training, to a person that has no clue about training. So if you're an average parent and you think you know, and if you don't understand the science and practice of strength training, you just think.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
Well, that's what a lot of the kids would be coming up to you while we were at the gym and stuff like that, and like we would be talking or something like that, and the kids would be coming up to you after test day and be like, Jerry, why am I not getting faster? Why am I not, jumping higher and stuff like that? But this is when I started helping you out with coaching and stuff, and we would talk about it. And I'm like, man, he's not pushing it in squat. Like, he's not pushing it in box squat or anything like that. Like,
These kids, they wanted to skip their jump.
Well, yeah, they thought. They thought that missing, 1 or 2 reps on their box squats, wasn't going to hurt them. But like in all reality, like every rep freaking counted.
Yeah, and I did a podcast with Katie because she knew she had to squat to get faster. She ended up running a 5.1, started above 6 in a 40-yard dash, and she went on to play softball for UGA.
Yeah.
And she knew if she didn't hit those reps or she missed a workout, she was fearful, just like you were. That y'all were the people that I had to say, no, Brooks, we're not going to do this today. No. And then when you got to help it was like, no, you need to do this to the kid, because the kid did not put those years in prior to be able to get a reward and have to back off. Because once it starts to become your identity, you don't want to go backwards. You didn't want to never go backwards in your strength. You never wanted to go backwards in your jump. You always wanted to improve your 40-yard dash.
In my mind, that was like a fear. Like the monster under my bed kind of thing, that I didn't want to get back. I didn't want to retreat back to what I started out as when I was a little tiny freshman that couldn't jump or run for anything or bench anything. That was my fear that kind of progressed on, and obviously too was wanting to go to college and do collegiate sports and stuff like that for track and everything. Like that was a big motivator too. But bettering myself each and every day, that way I can be better than the next person next to me.
Yeah, and Katie, her back was hurt, but she was a girl that, just like you and Cody and all y'all's crowd at that time, she was crying. I told her not to. Katie, you don't need to freaking squat. I said, if you get hurt today, it's going to cost you a week or 2. I said, no, and I knew she was not the type of person to back off.
No.
And so once I know you as a person, like I've got some kids that say they want to push, but when I start programming, and it starts to get hard, they'll start skipping reps.
Well, they're feeling things that they haven't felt before, and it makes them uncomfortable.
And that kid that went from a 5.3 to a 4.7, I can't do that today. I can't do that today. He ends up doing it.
Yeah.
And I said, how's it feel to do something you thought you could do, or even you couldn't get through? Then now he's kind of like, okay, but they got to go through a couple of hard phases in order to understand I can do it. It's going to freaking really suck. But once I come through it, no one's going to catch me.
Yeah.
Just kind of like what y'all did. And
yeah, that's a funny thing too, because you'd be amazed of what the potential you can have once you got to that point. Because what you were talking about when what were we talking about when I was at track practice that one time and I was screwing around or something?
You were screwing around, jumping over hurdles. You were doing something.
Oh, we were doing warm-ups for track practice when I was at high school, and we were doing sprints. Like we would do sprints.
And that's when they noticed that you became part of the 4x100.
Yeah, right? I was on the 4x1 team, and I was a thrower because I was like, I think we would do the sprints, and I'd be lined up with all the A team sprinters or whatever that was on the fastest 4x1. And they'd be like, go, and we would take off, and I'd be pulling ahead, if not tied with some of the faster guys.
Yeah,
on the sprint coaches were confused because they didn't know what I was.
How in the hell is this thrower keeping up my top sprint?
Yeah.
And that year y'all won state.
Yeah, we did.
And so it's not like you were keeping up with a low level team.
No, we did. Yeah, that was the first time we won state.
And so I thought they noticed you jumping hurt, and they couldn't get over how explosive you were. But it was actually you running with the sprinting.
Yeah, the sprints. Yeah, that was a weird time because there, we'd be lining up at track meets on Saturdays or whatever, and I'd be throwing shot, and I'd be on my second throw or something like that, and they'd be on the intercom like 4x1 A team needs to be showing up to the start line or whatever. So I'd have to change out of my throwing shoes and put my spikes on and everything. And I'd be getting up to the start line. I was like the anchor, like the third guy to get the baton or whatever, and there'd be the guys lined up and everything, and they'd be kind of like, snickering to the side, like talking to everybody, like, who the hell is this fat kid, like trying to feel like they can do something. And it was just funny proving them wrong kind of thing too. And it wasn't like, trying to be like, like all high and mighty and toot my own horn, but I always remembered where I came from, where I started from, and wanted to prove people wrong, because that's what propelled me along the whole entire way.
I even had shirts later on that said prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Back of them.
Yeah.
Because people think you can't do something. You can do basically whatever you want.
Oh yeah, that can be the biggest fire to your gut that propels you forward and all throughout life.
Yeah, because you proved a lot of people wrong. Yeah. And then you started turning around trying to help the other ones here. How was that? Trying to help it's kind of different.
It was definitely humbling in a sense, but it made me feel better about myself, because I was helping kids that I was like back in the day, and knowing that when they would get all beat down on themselves and everything, like, oh, like they're weak, like that dude or that girl's lifting more than me, stuff like that. And I can bring them to the side and I can tell them, like, where I started from, or where Cody started from, where Carson started from, and I can be like, there's potential there. You just got to trust in the process. Trust in Jared's ways, so to speak, is what we would be.
Yeah, Cody
Cody
benched 85 pounds in the 8th grade. Mm-hmm. And once he started lifting weights, he went from a below average in height and weight to above average in height and weight, and he ended up coming out of high school with 400 plus bench.
Yeah.
And so,
at 172, right?
Yeah,
like 160 body weight.
I know he did a 160. He weighed 161. Did a 501 squat in an IPF competition for Raw Nationals.
That's insane.
But like what you were saying, you try to turn around for that little kid and you pull that kid away. What you say to someone can really impact them for the rest of your life. You could have changed the kid's life. You know what I'm saying?
And that was the biggest thing too, was seeing them succeed after the fact. Because when you like on the, at the end of the month, when you would test us every month, like these kids would be coming in and they'd be already unmotivated, thinking that they weren't going to succeed, they weren't going to improve their numbers and everything like that. And like we'd be up there like trying to hype them up, like, hey, like this is where you prove yourself. This is where you prove everyone else wrong, that you've been putting in the work and everything. And they go in there and they get 0.2 off of their 40, or they get a couple inches on their vertical, and like that may not seem like a big win, but in here, like that's a big old win right there. It improvements everything.
Yeah, I think sometimes the numbers here can be quite scary, because like when y'all are jumping 40, these kids are not even jumping 20. They'll sometimes feel like, man, I can't get there. If they could watch a movie and see where people like you and Cody and Joe, Joe couldn't bench 95 pounds.
Yeah.
Y'all were not the strongest people, but y'all left the strongest people.
Yeah.
And
you gotta start somewhere.
That carried over even into the. How strong were you in Air Force?
I was pretty decently strong. Granted, I went through a couple of injuries and stuff like that, but
were you normally the strongest on the track team, or
yeah,
how was your strength level compared to everybody else?
I was starting out. There was obviously a couple guys that were a little bit older than me, freshman, sophomore year, that they had better, because we would do power cleans and stuff like that. But I would always out squat people, by over probably 50 pounds.
How was your speed? How was your speed compared to some of those guys?
I would always be the fastest, and I'd be jumping the highest too. And people wouldn't really understand how or why, and it'd be kind of hard to explain, like, explosive mechanics back in my hometown.
Yeah, because people think we're just an average gym, that like they want to try to compete with me, like with the streets down the gym. But how would you feel? Sometimes they have parents working out with kids. Do you want your mom and dad to come work out with you, Brooks? we get a bad rap because of our music. You know, it's still F this, F that, but
Yeah.
if they don't like it, they can go down. We even had the auto body people over here. Were you in here that day when the auto body people across the street came in?
Nah.
Because we was playing some music and they didn't like it. And they walked in,
It's your own establishment.
and it was, I think, Alex Barr. I mean, it happened
Oh,
to be
yeah.
like some of the biggest. I mean, we had Jordan Watson, Alex.
Yeah.
You're talking 6'4" to 6'7"
All
guys,
those big dudes.
and you had me, and we walked the door, and they said, "That music's not cool. Could you just turn it down a little bit?"
We're working over here, man.
And so we, you know, it's like we're not just a bunch of kids over here. We're
Yeah.
actually freaking big guys working.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never really changed the music, and they never said anything in a couple of years. So
Yeah, that was a lot of things. Is, you know, a lot of the parents nowadays, you know, they want to be a part of, you know, their kids like growing up, and you know, in terms of sports and like training them and trying to get them where they are. You know, parents drop them off here and they want to watch them work out and stuff like that. Like my parents, they drop me off and they tell me, you know, all right, call us when you're done. We'll come get you. And you know, I'd be here for 2.5, 3 hours. You know, actually working, not just screwing around. But it's because they trusted you from the get go.
yeah, I think sometimes parents that watch their kids all the time.
Yeah, they're overwatching. They're hovering all the time.
They're
you gotta be able to trust in the process.
because at this gym I actually have a seating area that's a net, but the parents can't go through.
Yeah.
At the other gyms I didn't have that, and
No.
so I think when you get sometimes, you know, some parents are really cool and some parents are really supportive. Like I think it's good to watch, and I think it depends on how much you watch. Like what you said, if you overwatch, if you watch them rep by rep, day by day, I don't know if you really truly appreciate the process, because it's just like watching your kid go from 3 to 8 years old. You look back and you're like, holy cow, look at the pictures back then.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really appreciate the change
That was
as you're doing it, you know. And so I think sometimes as they're watching them grow and watching them develop and change in the gym, I don't think they truly appreciate the process. And some of these kids nowadays, they want to go from point A to point B like super quick. Like I had a kid
the
go from
quickest way.
I had a kid go from running a 4.9 to running a 4.7 in USPS in 1 month. I was like, I wanted a 4.6. Well, freak. It's like,
Get what you get.
man, that's like, that's good, you know. And sometimes they think they're better than what they are. And if the parents just drop them off, let me take care of them over time, they'd be good. And sometimes they get, hey, well, he's got high school training, and so that's why people get like you. Did you have a high school weight training?
No, I mean we
You never
for
really.
for football when I was in playing football up to freshman year, we had like our little weight training program, but obviously I had to stop playing football. And then when track season came around, we didn't really have our own program and everything. We were just practicing because we're track team and everything like that. So for when I started here freshman year of high school all the way up until senior year of high school, it was all your program and everything, because when I started my throw and deep club up in Marietta, I started trying to do half and half, like your program and their program up at throw and deep, trying to do it both. But for the most part, for 95% of my high school career, it was all you, and trusting in your program, trusting in your process. And but going back to what the whole thing of, parents trusting in you and relying that you're going to take care of their kids and stuff like that. I mean, me personally, I thought it was great to always come back home after we tested and I'd be able to tell my dad and tell my mom like what I did that day, and they'd be like amazed. They're like, what was your time last month? I would tell them, they're like, I'm proud of you. Like, that's awesome. They appreciated it more when they weren't here, because they trusted in the process and they knew that, whatever you were doing, was working.
Yeah, it's the betterment of the athlete. I'm trying to make. When you graduated high school, you squatted more, you ran faster, you jumped higher, and you benched more than I did when I graduated high school. And so it's my job to help these kids be better than what I was. If got some couple kids go to SEC football, ACC football, that's higher level than me. I've had 6 athletes here that started with me as a high school sophomore that now play professional sports. And so it's kind of like my job is to help someone be better. But it's almost needs to be a partnership to where, hey, these kids will be in here, like I had. But sometimes the kids want to go here, and the parents make them go somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. Like I was saying to the kids, I'm like, I don't know. And I had another girl the other day say, hey, this guy at school wants to come here, but his parents want him to go somewhere else. And I'm thinking, I said, that's nuts. Why don't you research or figure out what's going on?
Just come over and ask questions.
Look at that wall right there with all the signings I've been to, Brooks.
Yeah.
I've had parents come here and say, look, other places around here have nothing even close to that.
And it's not that, and you're not even having, it's not like kids are coming in here every day and they're coming out with back injuries.
Yeah.
You're doing it your workouts are tough and like people may hate you when they're doing them, but it's not like they're coming out here and they're having to take a week, 2 weeks off because they hurt their meniscus or they tore their ACL squatting.
Or even
you're doing it smart.
Even when you had a back problem, we figure out a way to continue to get you
we worked around it.
Yeah.
When I dislocated my shoulder, numerous times, you had me, because I couldn't get my hand back here to grab the bar because it was so messed up back here. You had me on the safety bar, and I was doing box squats that way.
Yeah, we always check. And you remember Friday, Brandon Fry?
Yeah.
He broke his hand because he punched someone in the face mask in football. He came in here after a JV game. After he punched a kid in the face mask with a swollen hand, still bench max. Goes the next day, his hand was broken.
Builds character.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's a tough kid.
Yeah.
I had someone come in here the other day, I got this scratch right here. I'm like, you good. I love scratches. But it's kind of like,
rub some dirt in it.
Man, and so but then he went and had it casted. And he still came into the upper body days with a freaking cast on his hand. Were you ever in a boot?
No, I was never in a boot or a cast or anything like that. I could barely move my shoulder because it was so messed up.
I had a kid this past summer come in here and squat with a boot on. And so it's just like...
That's hard right there, though.
But
But that's because he trusted in you and you knew that, he's hurt and everything, but, what you're doing here shows, like, you have a pedigree now. You have a follower, you have following that, know that what you've done for, what I've known you for 8 years now, something like that, close to 8 years.
No, it's lower than that, Brooks.
Really?
The gym was started in 2008. Where'd you come? 2010?
2010, yeah.
Or 2009.
Yeah.
It was at the first place. So I opened the first place in
Yeah, it was my freshman year, so it was like 2009. Yeah.
And I opened the first place in 2008, April of 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Your brother came that summer.
A little bit after that.
Okay, so then that Christmas is 2009, probably.
Yep.
And so it's 2019, so yeah, about 9 years.
Yeah. So I don't know. Whoever's telling their kids like not to come here,
They don't realize, they don't know what they don't know.
They're probably just they're fearful of the unknown because either A, they don't want their child to get hurt, which is understandable. But if they come in here, they look around, they see everyone that you've signed, they look in the gym, they see all the flags on the wall that you have hung up, like, your process, your training, your program works.
Yeah, I've had there's over 50 flags on the wall.
And they're all, from D2 up.
Yeah.
Mostly all D1 programs.
And so it's just not like I'm running a gym where I've got 5 different employees. I know every athlete because every athlete workout that comes here is handwritten.
Yeah. And that's a big thing too, is that you're literally one guy that's writing everybody's program. But not only that, each athlete that comes in here,
Yeah.
like first name basis. Like, when they first start out, it's gonna take a little bit, but like, like if someone came in here and they tweak their knee at practice, like you're able to take their folder and you're able to tweak it to where their needs are,
Yeah.
to where it's not going to mess them up. You know, that's a special kind of coach right there that, you know, at most places that, you know, these speed training places that they go to, like I feel like they don't take the time and the effort into knowing their athletes,
or even like
to a certain degree.
Yeah, even if like they're in high school, like I remember Mikey hurt his toe or broke his toe or something happened in football practice where he had a foot and he couldn't do anything. And they said, "What good are you to the team now?" All right, well, why don't you find a way to help him around what he could do? So
Yeah.
he came to the gym. We did conditioning with a broken foot, but he would sit down and he'd do battle ropes seated.
Yeah.
We would do some med ball twists. We would do some med ball work. We would do something to get his heart rate up so he wouldn't be deconditioned by the time he went back to play football. You know, it's kind of like, okay, got a broke toe. What can we do? Instead, like in high school, if someone's hurt, they don't want to deal with it, so they just push them off. You just go sit over there, or you just go work on your homework, and you do something. They're not trying to help them.
You got to find a way to work around that, because there's always a different alleyway. There's always a different process, workout, you know, exercise that you can do that's still making you better, you know, regardless of your. I mean, granted, there's certain injuries that you just straight up can't do
Yeah.
anything. I mean, I had to get shoulder surgery coming out of my sophomore year, going into junior year, and you know, you straight up just can't do anything. But
Yeah.
during that time frame, you know, as soon as I got cleared to do something, I was back at it trying to do everything I could. But that is because that came, my mindset of from explosive from here was, you know, don't let these little injuries, don't let the surgery get to you from stopping you from where you want to be. So
Yeah.
like the things that I learned here progressed me forward, you know, was able to push me through whatever stressors, whatever obstacles that came my way when I was at, you know, the Air Force Academy, when I was going through, you know, tough times and everything. And it boils down to, it's not just about weightlifting. It's not just about getting stronger. You're also building up your mental fortitude.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my biggest confidence boosters came from you, Jared, because you built me up from this kid that could barely jump, had noodle arms and everything, and you built me up into something that I actually had self-confidence for the first time, you know?
Yeah, you really grew up and matured, and then I allowed you to start helping, and then you started taking that gift of what you learned and you try to pass it on to someone else.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. It's not just about you and like, yeah, it's cool to, you know, gloat about your numbers and stuff like that, but when it comes back to, you know, it's more humbling, in my opinion, to teach and to show others, you know, the younger generation, that they can get to where they want to be, because you can use your past.
I try to use what I've learned and like what you did. You know, y'all are not here anymore to see some of the stories. You know, I do have a few kids here that are like y'all, and but you know, they're not helping because they've got a lot of other stuff going on their plate.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
y'all were like Joe talked about going to Ranger School and stuff, learning and how it helped him help others.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you said, it's just not about the numbers, although the numbers are very important if you want to.
They help you along the way, especially in the beginning, but
They're a mark of the I guess numbers are a step.
yeah,
Then when you look back, you can see how many steps you've taken.
yeah.
And so numbers are a way to
You grew as a
record,
human being.
yeah, to record your steps.
Yeah.
And so I think with all the time, it's changed. You know, like, how did you feel about test week back in the day? Y'all were really excited about that word.
Oh
were you
man,
nervous?
test week.
You remember Nicholas? He'd come in like with a lightning shirt on.
Oh, dude, test week became like the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh
at
yeah,
the end
that's
of
how
each
you.
month.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, Carson and I, you know, because we were at the time, Carson and I were the only guys at Macintosh that were coming here. So we couldn't really, like at Stars Mill, they had like a big group of guys that were coming here and everything like that.
Hey, I'm gonna put this out there. I've got more Macintosh people now
Really?
than I do Stars Mill.
Seriously.
And guess what's gonna happen? I am predicting that Macintosh will again this year, 2019, beat Stars Mill football. Because I think at one point in time I had so many things. I think the people, once they start believing in the process, so I think Macintosh will beat Stars Mill. If not, I may even guarantee it, Brooks.
All right. I'll hold you to it.
But
yeah, I mean, going back to testing week, I mean, because we would test at the end of every month, and it got to the point where we were marking it down on our calendars, man, because it was like that motivation of like, it got to the point where we knew that we were going to improve in our numbers, because we knew we could feel it in ourselves that we were stronger. I mean, Carson and I would pass each other in the hallway, and we'd be like, fist bump and be like, "Yo, like testing day today." Like,
y'all were getting excited for it.
Like, we pull into the parking lot here, and we started blaring music because like it was time to go. It was time to work because we wanted to. Not only that, but we had a crowd here.
It was like game day.
Yeah, it was game day. We had a crowd here. We were cheering people on. I mean, didn't matter how fast you're jumping or how fast you're running, how high you're jumping. Like, if you improved, you improved. And even guys that didn't improve, they're just having a bad day. Like, they still fed off of other people, and they were still able to get something out of it. But, I mean,
the kids nowadays,
there's a camaraderie that helped out a lot.
Jared, do I have to test? I don't want to test. But why do we have to test? Well, I got to see if what I'm giving you, as far as your workouts and your exercise prescription, is it working to make you a better athlete?
Yeah.
Can I just test next time? No, we're going to test today. They don't want to do it. That's so aggravating. Okay, look, how am I supposed to know if a kid, like, y'all help my knowledge. It's a 50-50 relationship. If y'all didn't work as hard as you did, and if you didn't test like you wanted to, I didn't know the stuff we was doing would work or not.
Yeah.
So if it went for y'all's group testing all the time, really helped me figure, okay, well, this don't work, throw this out. This don't work. Oh, let's try this, pull this in. Oh, this works. And it's just like doing a problem, and it's just problem solving.
Yeah, and it wasn't like we were improving each time, like each test week or each test at the end of test month. Like, there was times where I actually went down in my vertical. I actually didn't get, or I was stagnant,
Mm-hmm.
and like, yeah, like that like pissed me off because you put in that whole 3.5 weeks of work, to get the same or worse results.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that sucked, but at the same time, it fueled you for the next time, and you improved. We would improve tremendously. We would knock down 2 seconds off of our 40 time because it was kind of just more fuel to the fire.
Yeah, y'all are always, all right, this I'm not gonna do that again next month.
Yeah.
But the kids nowadays, I do have a few that like to test to make sure that they're progressing right, but it's a lot of them. I wouldn't say a lot of them. I would say there's more nowadays that I don't want to test, and I need to figure out. I'm always trying to constantly learn, and so by me testing, I know what I'm doing is working or not, because a lot of colleges or other performance places or whatever, they're not testing on a monthly basis. So a kid may be doing running skills, running mechanics, they look better running, but they may run the same thing.
Yeah.
So if you're in baseball, you're running the same 60-yard dash time. You're running the same 40-yard dash time for football. You're running your same times, but you look better. What's the point of a new paint job if the engine's not any better?
Yep.
And that's all it is. It's a cover-up for what you can't do. Oh, he looks better, so he must be faster. Where's the test?
Putting lipstick on a pig.
Hey, yeah, but why are you going to go? Hey, they test at school for a reason, don't they? To make sure that you're learning the knowledge that they're trying to teach you. They got curriculums they have to follow. Are these kids learning this curriculum? Are these kids learning the performance parameters, or are they getting the performance parameters that I want them to get out of what they're doing here? And I need to try to say that in different ways. When I got parents here asking me, what can I do for them or whatever, it's not necessarily what can I do for you. Can you show up? Can you be consistent? Like this one kid, I got a kid, he's not coming but once a week now. Last year he's coming 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And he's working out in high school. And his 40-yard dash is the same as it was last year. He's not coming here enough. But he went from last year he went from a 6 flat to a 5.2.
That's awesome.
Still running a 5.2. But he's coming here, so I don't know if I'm getting he's running a 5.2, he's still going to explosive. Is explosive working? No, you're not consistent. You have to, that's like, even like these other kids, like I had some other kids that go to other high schools. They went to speed places, and they did their high school weight training. So just because you do weight training and speed training, don't mean you're going to get better. They still went to the high school, still did strength training in high school, Then they went to other places for speed improvement. And they come back here a year later because something's not working. And so I had one kid who ran a 5.1 last year, stopped, came back, ran another 5.1, now he runs a 4.7. And so you got to get down below that 7 mark in the 60 yard to have scholarship opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's just kind of like.
And that's what a lot of people got to understand is like, I mean, like when I started out, I didn't start seeing tremendous strength gains, you know, testing 40.
We didn't test when you first started.
No, we didn't test. We maxed, you know.
We tested our max, but when I say testing, I'm doing the jumping.
Yeah, you're talking like that. But like my numbers didn't actually start improving, and probably not till I didn't start seeing tremendous gains until probably like my sophomore year.
Yeah, because you were still young, kind of like what you said, immature and stuff.
Yeah,
you had to grow. You had to grow into the gym.
Yeah, people got to understand that, and it goes back to the whole thing of, you know, sometimes kids want results now.
Yeah.
They want to do a couple bench presses and they want to see their max go up instantly.
Yeah, just like this. Hey, I'm going to go to Home Depot in a minute. I'm going to get me a seed. I want to put it in the ground. And when I get back tonight, I want my freaking tomatoes.
Yeah. It's a building process, man. Like that's what a lot of people need to understand. And unfortunately, they get that. Some of them get that from their parents.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the instant, you know, gratification kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like you got to put in the work. I mean, yeah, the journey can be frustrating because you keep on putting in your time and your money and your effort, and blood, sweat, and tears into this one thing, and you're still getting the same results or different results. But like, you keep on trusting in the process, working, being consistent, like you're talking about. Like you're gonna get to the point where you thought you never think you could be.
Yeah. And
it boils back to the consistency. It boils back to believing in other external factors, like, I mean, obviously, like your process and your program.
Well, sometimes you go to school and you got to go to history class and you got to go to literature, and you're sitting there thinking, I'm not ever going to use this in life. What am I going to do this for? What am I doing this for?
Yeah.
You know, usually you're coming here to get better at a sport.
Yep.
In sports, you run, you jump, and you got to have strength to withstand forces.
Same process.
And so then I'm testing you each month so that you can actually physically see that you're getting better for them.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when you go to high school weight training, I was always frustrated because I went to a specialty place when I was in high school because I wanted to get better at powerlifting because I didn't want somebody not powerlifting. Mm-hmm. So I had to go seek out, because my coach would just do this. And if I would have known what I know now, I would have squatted a lot more in high school. I just knew sets of 10. Well, shoot, we don't do sets of 10. You know, like the way if we would have tested in high school and I would have seen my peers around me get better, and I would have wanted to copy what they're doing or outwork what they were doing in order to beat them at what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, instead of just, okay, because we never tested. We tested maybe once a year. So I couldn't understand the point of, why do we have to do it? You know, I'd skip squats. I'd walk out the squat rack, put the squat bar, make the weights jingle, look around, any coaches looking, nope, racket. Well, I was lazy. And so my highest vertical in high school was a 27. Got to college, I graduated college with a 31 and a half, and now I've jumped up to 37 inches vertical in the gym at an older age. Mm-hmm. I think I jumped to 37 at 36 years of age. Yeah. And so I'm better I'm stronger, I'm faster, but I'm older. It's too late for me. Why don't people take from my mistakes what I learned, and I'm testing you to show you that, hey, if you do this, you'll get better. Hey, if you do this, this will happen. You know, I've already made the mistake.
And not only that, Jerry, but like, I remember there'd be times where like, Cody would invite me over to y'all's house and we'd hang out and stuff like that, and I would, stay the night and everything. But like, your job, the thing that struck out to me and what I knew that you cared about what you were doing, what you wanted to get this gym to, was that you were always studying. You were always making yourself better mentally in terms of the knowledge that you had. You had all these strength and conditioning books on your coffee table that you'd be listening, listening to audio books, you'd be writing stuff down, and I'd be like, Jared, what are you doing? Like, hang out, play video games with me. You're like, nah, man, like, I gotta get ready for tomorrow. Like, you were, and I'm sure you still do it too.
Yeah, I remember because Donna said, Jared, They didn't come over here to spend time with you. They came over here to spend time with Cody and Kyle.
Yeah.
I said, because when y'all came over, I said, man, look, now I can teach it.
Well, and that's another thing too, is like I went from knowing like, oh, like bench, squat, deadlift, those are the things I gotta get better at. But like learning from you taught me so much more, that there's so much more to strength and conditioning and making myself, you know, stronger, bigger, faster. There's like the big three lifts.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these little building blocks you got to build up to. But that was from you showing me that, you know, you're constantly working at your craft. You know, you're always studying, you're always at it. And that's another thing that, you know, when people, I'm sure some people don't understand now, is that you know, come in here, you write the workouts, but like you have so much work prior to building this gym from nothing into something.
That reminds me of something. You, because the gym's one part, but you also got to go home and do the extra study part with the extra reading and trying to understand and trying to, how can I help this kid that wants to get better? How can I help them get better? But what you did, and I guess what you're saying, you'd finish your workouts here, and then you would go do your turns. You would always work on your turns.
Yeah.
Remember, you did extra stuff.
Yeah, I would.
But you would sit in your garage. You would do your turns in your garage.
That was.
Remember that?
Yeah, that was. It would.
You would do your turns. Then you would come to the gym to get your work, and then you would do more turns to work on your throws.
Yeah.
You know, that's the after work. I left the gym, and I still went home and did some work for the gym.
Yeah.
You did your specific throwing work before the gym. You came to the gym to get your performance work. Then you still, what you did is there's skill. There's a skill set in throwing.
Yeah. It's a lot of it boils down to technique. Technique is huge.
Technique is skill. Whether your golf swing is technique, whether you're running is technical, you got a technique, but you also have a physical limitation, which is your physical performance. So it's either technical or physical. And so if you have a physical limitation, that weight y'all throw is not light.
No,
So if you don't have the
35
strength,
pounds.
so if you don't have the strength to pick up the 35-pound weight, you're sure not going to throw it very far. So the stronger you get against that implement, it's just kind of like the 35-pound weight, but we jump with 35-pound dumbbells.
Yeah.
You know, so now you can move that heavier external resistance at a higher rate of speed. How you know that? It's because you jump higher. So if you jump higher, you move it faster.
Yeah.
And so we were jumping with rate. So we got you strong. We was able to jump with what you had to do. But not only that, you took time to work on your skill. And I never told you to do that. Oh,
No.
Your parents went down your throat. You did all that on your own.
Well, a lot of it boiled down to, and my throwing coach up in Marietta at Throw on Deep, he told me, you know, if I wanted to get to the, you know, the next level in terms of throwing, you know, I got to do something different than what everybody else is doing, because I didn't start throwing hammer and weight until my hardcore throwing it until my senior year.
Yeah.
And that was before I even started getting looked at by colleges. And they're like, you're late to the game. You gotta work 10 times harder than any of your peers are right now, because they're already ahead of you. And he told me, you know, you can start turning, but you know, he said you gotta figure out something. And he said do a couple hundred turns and each day. And I figured that out to do 400 turns each day. So I would come home after school. I'd do 120 turns before I came here, and then I would do another couple hundred here when I think it was between when I was starting helping you out with the younger crowd, and then I would go home and I would do more turns, and pretty close to like throwing up and crap like that. It probably wasn't a great time, but Monday through Friday, that's what I would do, and yeah, it sucked and everything, but it ended up paying off in the end.
Yeah, got a scholarship, went through, and was part of the track team in the Air Force.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like you got a kid that had a broke neck in high school.
Yeah. That's what they call them, broke neck kid.
Ends up going and throws the way for Air Force, being a collegiate athlete. You know, that's a whole story. And you know who else does what? Spieka would come in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he'd come in and he would get his workout done. Jared, wow, but he did the work. Spieka squatted 6'11" in high school.
Yeah, that's great.
Ran a 4.940, and jumped. I don't know what his exact vertical number. It was above 30 at 280 plus pounds.
Yeah.
And so that's 6'11" squat, and he's heavy. It's all about relative strength. Mm-hmm. And so once I figured out how to increase strength faster than what you gain body weight, then I knew, okay, now we just got to do this. Now I got to get the kids to do that.
Yeah.
But Spieka would finish his work, he'd come in and he'd do his turns. You know, and no one made y'all do that. I mean, that's something y'all want to do, and you did it. But you said it sucked, but it paid off.
Paid off, yeah.
So I think, like, sometimes I don't want to diet. That sucks. But if I don't, I'm not gonna get the result I want.
Yeah. You got to put the prior work in before you even want to get to where you want to be, because it goes back to the whole. A lot of people wanted that instant gratification, that instant result.
Yeah, just like me wanting to go to Home Depot, plant a seed, and all of a sudden have tomatoes in a couple hours.
Yeah.
It don't work that way. Like I said, you got to grow into the gym.
Yep. You
got to pick something. You got to stay with it long enough in order to see it turn out. You know, how long is it going to take me to get tomatoes after I go plant a seed? And how well do I take care of that seed when I plant it? Yeah. If I water it once a week, show up to the gym once a week, I'm probably not going to have any tomatoes. No. You know, the seed may be there, but what are you doing to take care of it? You know, are you constantly you putting Miracle-Gro on it? Are you watering it? Are you making sure that seed's taken care of?
Yeah.
Are you doing your parent that seed?
You got to make it your life.
Yeah.
In terms of, in a sense, I mean, obviously, you always need to have a strong balance in life with you know, faith, family, and extracurricular activities and stuff like that. But in high school, when your priorities are pretty limited, because especially if you're in sports, all you want to do is, for the most part, get to collegiate, the collegiate level. Yep. It was easy for me because I was like, all right, all I gotta do is eat, go to school, sleep, work out, do my throwing. But
you managed.
That's all I.
But you still managed to have friends.
Yeah, that's true.
And you had a girlfriend here or two along the way.
Yeah, yeah.
So you did school. You did your skill set training. You did the gym. And you had social time, friends and girlfriends. Usually, like when kids nowadays, they got a girlfriend, they don't have any friends.
Yeah.
Or if they got friends, they're not really hanging out with girls. So the girl gets involved, then they drop the friends for the girl. But you balanced friends, you balanced girlfriends with the friends, your skill training with the sport, and the gym and school.
And a lot of that did come with time, though, because going back from freshman, sophomore year,
you had time to build a regimen.
I knew I wanted to. I knew what goals that I wanted, and I knew a lot of that. 95% came from coming here and building my craft and building, because it's like building a house, building that strong foundation.
Yeah.
And I contribute a lot of my success in life where I'm at right now because of you, because of the gym.
I appreciate that, Brooks.
Because you, like, I'm going back, I mean, get all touchy-feely, but I came from this little, kid and everything like that.
They couldn't jump over a sheet of paper. His
Yeah.
parents dropped him off at the gym all the time. I don't think I even hardly ever saw your
No,
parents.
they came a couple times and everything.
And
But I mean,
so-
obviously my parents and everything, and my whole family and friends, like they got me to where I want to be too. But in terms of my self-confidence and everything, and overall strength and mental strength and fortitude,
I wish if I could find some old videos, dig up. So I would like, to see those pictures of little Brooks,
yeah,
Cody. I do have a picture where, I don't know where it's at, but it's pretty hilarious. Cody and Carson took all the change from the gym and changed your ass to the impulse trainer.
Yeah, I remember that.
Jeez, and you helped move the first gym to the second place.
Yep.
And the second gym to this place.
Yeah, man. We're kind of
now he's got a wedding ring on his hands. He had to drug some girl to marry him.
Yeah, freaking fell in love. She's amazing and everything, and she was a track athlete too, and she's a badass and everything, and we're hoping to make some little chillins around here that can hopefully share our love for whatever sport they want to be too. But a lot of it, when it comes to future generations and everything, you want to teach like you're going back to, you want to make them better than what you were.
Yeah.
And that's what my biggest thing too, like, whether, when my wife and I have kids, if they want to play soccer, or if they don't even want to play sports, or whatever it may be, like, I want them to learn from my mistakes, from what I wish I would have done differently, stuff like that. Because I feel like in life, that's the most humbling experience, is when you see something that you helped taught get built into something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, and they'll appreciate. I didn't really. My parents would yell at me and get on me and stuff when I was young. Kind of.
You don't understand at the time.
No, as I got older and as I started raising Cody, Kyle, and Colton, and having my own family.
Yeah. At a young age too.
Yeah, 24 years old with 3 kids.
That's. I tell you what, dude. That's mental strength
and starting the business.
Yeah.
And
kids that were already grown.
And so my dad had his own business, and that's kind of how we survived growing up. My mom, she also worked, and I didn't understand what they were doing. I knew they went to work, but I didn't understand the bills and all the other stuff and the stuff that came into play and whatever. And so as I got older, I went and told my parents. I said, I told my mom, Dad, I said, I just want to thank y'all for being my parents.
Yeah.
It's thanking someone that helped you, and you didn't, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. And stuff they did along my pathway of growing up actually put me in my place where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, you never know what you were saying, like when you were helping the kids out at the gym, hey, look, come over here. Look, I used to be like that. You can change a person's direction in life. You could have a kid that's kind of like, I'm not going to be anything. So I'm just going to sit here and do nothing. No, if you just keep doing this, it's how you talk to them. You don't stand at the top of a mountain and yell down at someone. Like I told Colton, I said, you don't use that strength you're being given. You have a certain amount of strength. You go help someone to be like you, if not better than you. I said, so if you're at the top of the mountain, you're yelling down at someone, walk down that mountain and walk with them every step of the way to the top.
Exactly.
Help them be something.
Yep.
You don't stand up and yell like a commander. So, anyway, anything else you'd like to say, Brooks? I know you probably got to get rolling.
No. I mean, I'm just here for a short time and everything.
You're on military leave?
Yeah, I'm on leave right now. That's why I got the little peach fuzz going on right now. But I mean, I wanted to come by, and because I haven't been back here in 5 years?
When's the last time you've been to this?
I think it was about 5 years. And because my parents moved and everything like that, so it was hard for me to come by.
Y'all lived in Pensacola.
Yeah, Pensacola and Alabama for part time. So.
Yes, that's the state over, so it's kind of hard.
So it's hard to come over. And I always wanted to, and then I started seeing you were doing all these podcasts and everything, and it's always cool seeing people from
the past,
from my time and stuff like that. But I just want to leave it with that everyone that wants to come to Explosive and might be uneasy about bringing their kids here and stuff like that. Like I myself and all my friends that were here, we started from in terms of little strength, little athletic ability, whatever it may be, especially in my situation. But Jared built me physically where I am and mentally where I am today. And it may sound cliche or something like that, because it's like, oh, you might just be like, oh, it's just a gym, it's just a gym. It's more than that, because you'd be amazed of how much when your self-confidence gets boosted, you're kind of unstoppable. Yeah. It's all about your mental state.
Yeah.
If you can tell yourself, that you can do something, you can get there, as cliche as it sounds. And I was in a weird state, my freshman year of high school, where I didn't feel like I was the strongest, or
then when you get to explosive mechanics, I'll throw you in with the girls.
That sometimes you're gonna have to have some humbling experiences where you're like, dang, I gotta get my stuff in check. But what Jared's doing here works, and I feel like I'm a result of it. Carson's a result of it. Cody, Colton, Kyle.
Carson getting a lacrosse scholarship.
Yeah, and we all have our own situations and stories, but it all boils down to Jared, knowing what he's doing and the time and the knowledge that he has, the time he's put in with, with his degrees and all of his studies and all of his, you know, the books that he reads at night before he goes to bed and stuff like that. Like it works, and trust. You know, the big thing is trusting in the process and kind of just letting it go from there.
Yeah, it's totally changed. I've been to Lasky's wedding, Alex Barr and Austin Barner mailing wedding invitations.
Yeah.
So that's two weddings, or gonna be 3 weddings. Lasky's got a kid. The high school graduation, went to you and Carson's high school graduation party, and all these graduation parties. And after a while, I mean, not only that, you came to them, and now all of a sudden you end up coming to my house.
Yep.
It just become a part of not only the gym, but a part of family.
Yeah.
You know, over time. So it's just not come here and leave. It's not a cookie cutter thing. You're not dealing with different people. If the doors are open, I'm here.
Yeah.
If I'm not here, the doors are locked. I don't have people sitting here running the place for me, because I want to know my people. If your mom or dad were to call, what happened to Brooks? Well, let me go check with trainer A or trainer B, because I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not cool. I want to be involved because it's a process, and I want people. If I have you're a good example. You cared about the people. You know, if it wasn't for you, you impacted their life. Carson, y'all did a great job with the kids. Now for the kids, you know, y'all went from being an athlete to still being an athlete, but now you're helping other athletes.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it's helped you through your career. I'm proud of you, Brooks, and I just want to thanks for coming on this podcast. And if there's anything I can do in the future for you, let me know. So anyway, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening. You can follow me on Instagram at Explosive Mechanics, Twitter at Explosive MEC, or the easiest thing to do is email me, because I don't pay attention to any of that Instagram stuff very often. So it's info@explosivemechanics.com, and I'll try to do a better job of that. I don't know how much information I can give out, but we'll figure out what we need to do. So anyway, thank y'all for watching. Brooks, thanks again for coming on. So anyway, y'all have a good day. Thank you.